Pusnet. This is a shorty. This one is basically a question I kind of review in the past antibiotics, as well as in the next few videos I'll be talking a little bit more about antibiotics. So I thought I would do a video just on the topic. It's kind of my opinion on those, and should I get them for my prep or my kits, because we see a lot of videos talking about it and stuff. And contrary to most people that they talk about those fish antibiotics and stuff, and I kind of look into it and I read a few things and stuff. I'll talk about it towards the end. I'm not fully against the antibiotic, but I want to talk about fish antibiotic in particular. So let's start. So those are my 5 things against. The first question that the first thing that makes me a little bit less, it's what we call bioavailability. A lot of the disease that we would be facing in a disaster, and after I read, as I'm doing my research and stuff like that, there's a lot of medication that we do, even like the World Health Organization, where they're in developing country and they have poor resource, they still recommend a lot of time in either intravenous, so what we call parenteral. So that means that you give it either injection, so intramuscular or IV, which in our case would be still, but it's not the kind of one that you would be able to. Again, if you go with the fish antibiotics, it would be mostly per the mouth. So the thing with bioavailability is, as you can see here, is so the first graph, right, this one right over there, is a drug that you inject. So again, either that you inject it either intramuscular, or you inject it intravenously. It works a little bit differently, intramuscular, but basically it's a drug that you inject, so that you shoot either in a vein or in a muscle that finally get into a vein in this. As you can see here, this is the difference with it. So what they call bioavailability means that when I give a drug, this is what's available into the blood. And a lot of infection, you can start with intravenous and then switch to oral, but a lot of time you have to start with injection. And so I've been talking to a few pharmacists and things like that, and kind of seeing, you know, what drugs could be available, because again, in the hospital we use a lot of time intravenous because it's quicker and things, but also it's because, as you can see here, it's that's what it needs. It needs, because when you kill stuff, you need to kill it quickly, or else they can multiply and everything. So then that's why you need sometimes a lot of bioavailability right from the start, and then after that you can, once you have decreased the colonization of your bacteria infection, then you can start going with the oral. But right here you can see the difference between the oral. So if you go with the fish antibiotics, this is what you would get. You would get this little lump right over here where it says oral. So that would be my first thing against those fish antibiotics. The second one is the quality of the product. What do I mean is that a lot of time, you know, we hear, oh, they're the same quality of things, but here's, as you can see, as I'm kind of showing, one is a solid white tuna, right? Okay, the one that we can eat and it's made for our consumption, but and the other one is the tuna entry from the cat. But would you eat the cat entry when you go do grocery shopping? And this is the thing, I'm not quite sure, and again, this is, I cannot, you know, I don't have proofs of this and stuff, and nobody would really do any studies on antibiotics and stuff. But even if you, let's say you have gentamicin, which is an antibiotic, well, the gentamicin that you have for adults, maybe they use the same product, but is it the same quality of product? Is there any impurities inside the pills that maybe if you take, is it the same quality of it? Maybe, you know, pills that got rejected for the human consumption goes then to the fish, because, you know, it's not so bad for them. And so now if I'm consuming that, is there any reaction to it and stuff? Because they were not made for me, they were made for fish. So that's one thing that I'm concerned about the fish. And again, don't have the studies or anything that have shown, you know, like that's different and things like that. But I never heard any the people that says, yeah, okay, it's the same product. Okay, I'll agree with you on that one. But is it the same? Is it the same quality? That I never saw any proof or anything proving the otherwise. The right drug for the right disease. And this is another big issue, is that when you go to the hospital, we do tests. You know, we send blood cultures and things like that. And a lot of time in emergency, we'll still start some drugs, which we call broad spectrum, meaning that will kill the majority of certain disease according to the science and the statistic of it. So if you present, let's say, with a pneumonia, 80% of the time, the pneumonia will be those kind of bacteria. Therefore, it would be covered with those pills. But then 2 or 3 days later, the blood culture that we send will come back, and then we'll be able to target a little bit better the antibiotics that were started. And again, now it's antibiotics. So right here, if you have someone, can you tell me which one is bacterial and which one is viral? Meaning that which one will benefit from the antibiotics and which one can't. And those are two rash. One is bacterial, one is viral. And so that means one would benefit from having antibiotics, the other one doesn't. And so because we're limited in our resource of testing things like that, then the antibiotics that we get, we don't know. And a lot of disease that we have, in one video I'm going to do soon about respiratory disease, pneumonia can be either viral or can be bacterial. So in one case, antibiotics will be helpful, but in some other time it won't. So you have to know basically the disease that you're dealing with. Another one is the allergic reaction, and again that kind of brings me back also with one of the other point that I did. Do we know what's in those pills? Maybe they're cutting them with products that you don't think, you know, you're not allergic to the antibiotics themselves, but maybe there's a product because it's impure that you are allergic to, and so now you're giving somebody to help them, you know, with their infection, if it is an infection, because you're not quite sure because you cannot test it, and now you're giving them antibiotics that you're not quite sure of the quality of, and they could have an allergic reaction. So now do you have anything to cause with it? So then at the end, our big question is, should you get some? Personally, I don't think I would get fish antibiotics, but I will do a video later. I'm kind of working on the project and the ideas and stuff, but I think there is some antibiotics for some issue that would kind of solve some of those issues that we're seeing here for some situation that would probably, with a good protocols, you could go to your family doctor and or a walk-in clinic or something and get them to prescribe you the antibiotics. It's done when we travel. If you ever go to developing countries, they'll give you a prescription and they'll say, okay, if you have those symptoms, you take those pills for 3 days and that's it and stuff. So they can prescribe you in advance. And so I think if you have a right discussion with somebody and you come with a decent protocol, so meaning like, if I have this, yes, I'll take those, this, I'll take those. And so like I said, I'll work on that. But for me, fish antibiotics is out of my list because of all the things that I've just said and now. But the antibiotics themselves are not out of my not all out of the table, but I think it just need a better protocol. Anyway, it was a quickie, a shorty, sorry, on antibiotics, and I'll talk to you soon.